No, she's quiet. Usually they make little grunty sounds. Yes, she is pregnant. Come over here, you can eat. Come over to here. There you go. Let's come on. My head's in the grain and I want some. Yes, she is pregnant. She's 26 years old. This will probably be her last pregnancy. I'm going to put a little bit of fly spray on her because we got a little bit like less wind today, so we got some flies. These guys know when you're fly spraying them. So in the morning, when we're fly spraying the whole herd, they come and they stand still and they wait for you to spray them all the way around. If they have flies still on them, they cut you off and they stand and they want you to spray them off because they just don't want to have flies. They know that it irritates them, and somehow they've figured out that once you walk around and you do this, there's no more flies.
What's in there?
This is an all-natural, like citronella and different oils and stuff, and that's what we use on our female camels over here. Now, you know, you look at her and you say, well, she doesn't look that pretty. All this fur is really, really weird. Well, she's shedding right now. Camels shed their fur once a year in the summer. They have really thick winter fur that keeps growing and growing until it protects them all winter. Like this thick winter fur, if there is actually frost, the frost will be over on the back and won't even melt at night. Only in the morning from the sunlight because it insulates their body heat so well. But then summer comes along and it sheds and she rolls and it comes off, and I'm going to see if I can pull some out. Just see? That's camel hair right there. And she's just shedding right now and it's coming off. Over here it's shedding even more. And if I go down here in this area, and that's what you do with your camels. You kind of go over and then you're just kind of plucking the hair and you take it out, and it's nice and soft and it comes off everywhere. Within a couple of weeks you won't have any hair left on her. There you go, just like that. But absolutely sweet. She sees Camelot over there and she keeps looking at him to see what he's doing. But we got her 10 years ago, and when we went to get her, we actually saw a camel with no hump. She had no hump, she had no body fat. This is all fat in here. She was very, very skinny. Her back went straight across over here. Her stomach was pulled all the way up like that. The people that had her fed her, but they didn't really know a lot about camels. So she looked healthy to me. The other two camels with her were also very skinny, and I just bought all of them. And I raced home from Atlanta as fast as I could because I was afraid that she's going to die on the way. It's like, I better get her home. I got her home, and I work with vets from all over the world. And we all figured out together what to do, and within 2 months she gained 150 pounds. So every day you'd go to this camel and touch her on her back, and the ridge of the hump would come in more and more and more until she had this beautiful hump that she has right now. So the hump is just fat. Camel with no hump is very skinny. Camel has a nice big hump, or some camels have a hump that's too big, that's this wide. One of our camels over here, Jasmine, her hump is like this wide. And she came from a person that sold her, and she was in bad condition. They just fed her all the time, but she couldn't move around a lot, so she gained a lot of weight. So now over here, we're trying to have her lose weight and get a smaller hump, and then we'll breed her, you know, at some point. But that was Goldie. Goldie did really good here. When she came, she used to bite us all the time. They can lift 300 pounds by their mouth in the air.
Wow.
So you'd hold her on the rope and she'd pick you off the ground or toss you aside, and then she'd go over and start biting on her. And then it took her a year to get over biting on us. Now she's the opposite. She feels like we're her babies. Usually a female camel gives milk only to her baby. But the neat thing with her is if a baby isn't asking for milk, I'll go over and ask her for milk and touch her and rub her udder, and she'll drop milk for me. She thinks I'm her little baby camel. I don't know why. Last year I had got my foot stuck in the fence in the pasture, and I'm just shaking it and shaking my foot, and all the camels heard that and came running up. You can imagine 20 camels running towards you, and they run with their feet up in the air, and they're all excited, and they're coming closer and closer and closer up the hill. And last moment, Goldie came and cut everybody off, and she wouldn't let them come up to me. She cut everybody off, and then she'd come over and smell me. Like, are you okay? Are you all right? Like, make sure it's okay. And then she'd go back over to everybody else, and then I got my foot out. But that's the neatest thing. When they want to greet you, a lot of times a camel, when they greet each other, they touch noses. Like, they really press on each other, and that's how they greet and say hello. And it was funny because we were at the Del Mar Fair for a whole month doing our turkey races and our bird show at the San Diego County Fair. And I didn't think about it. I wasn't here for a whole month, and the camels didn't see me. And I just was home for a couple hours, so I ran in to get something from the pasture, one of the camels. All the camels came around. They all came around, and suddenly all these noses are pressing on me, like, hi, where were you? We're worried, where were you? What happened to you? And for a moment I was taken aback. It's like, why are they doing it, and I realized, oh, they hadn't seen me in a long time, they miss me. And they're saying, hi, how are you? We're happy to see you. And they press, isn't the regular like little kiss? I mean, it's pressing really hard from each side, and like smushed by camel. But it was the sweetest thing. I was really touched, like all of them around me kind of saying hello. So they are sweet animals. They're really a lot like dogs, you know, like puppies. When you train them, you use treats. When you work with them, if you treat them badly or if they're misunderstood, they'll learn how to bite. These guys will learn how to spit if they're misunderstood. But they've never done any spitting whatsoever. They're ruminants. They have 3 stomachs. They have special saliva that helps them eat wood. So they can actually take a pine tree. I had a pine tree over there and it turned into a lamppost. They ate the branches. They ate the bark. They ate everything off of it. They walk around with big branches in their mouth. And there's not many ruminants that can actually eat wood. But they have a special bacteria in the saliva and they can digest it. And they need that in the desert because there's not a lot of food in the desert. So if they find a branch and they need to live on that, they'll eat it. If they can't find any water and they've gone weeks without water, they can drink ocean water for a short period of time. That's how amazing these camels really are. They adapt to everything. She can go 2 weeks without drinking any water. Now our camels drink all the time. They have water there all the time, and if there's no water for half an hour, they complain. It's like, where's the water? But if you bring a hose over, oh, they want to roll in the mud. And Jamila takes the whole hose and puts it in her mouth, and all you see is her cheeks fill up and empty. And she'll just keep doing that, just drinking all that water. They can go 2 weeks without drinking water, lose 20% of their body weight in water. Like, I think 10% would kill us. 20% they don't even stress. It's a bathtub full of water. They drink it in a few minutes and keep going. They don't even stress by that. If a mother is lactating, giving milk to her baby, she'll give more water in the milk during that time to take it out of her system. It goes from their blood system. That's where all the water goes into. So really amazing. Now they don't want to lose water, so you know if we want to stay at 98.7 all the time, we need to cool ourselves off by sweating. So we sweat a lot to keep our temperature constant. Well, she doesn't have to do that. She can let her body temperature go up to 107 degrees. So in the morning she's 98.7. Right now she's probably like 102 degrees or so body temperature. And she's not sick, it's very, very natural. Now if we want to find out if a camel is sick or he has a temperature, we have to take a temperature of 5 different camels and then compare and see where the herd is at. So if the herd's at 102 and the sick camel is at 104, then they do have a temperature. Just all these things that are very different when you have a camel. Oh, you're done. There's more grain in here, but I didn't want you to have this grain. See her talk again? She's like, get out of my grain. Here, I'll give her a little bit. This is the treat grain. This has more sugar in it, so I didn't want her to have it, but you can have just a few little bites, and that's it. It tastes a lot better than what I gave her before. The stuff that she had before had more protein in it and just less carbohydrates. It's healthier for her. So even if she eats a little bit of the other stuff, that's okay. That's all right. We train them how to cush. I'll bring out Samson next. We have a few more minutes, and I'll bring out Samson, and I'll show you how I train him to lay down. He'll lay down over here in front of everybody. Gestation is 13 months. Did that camel go to the bathroom? You see how different it is when from a horse or a cow goes to the bathroom? There's a lot of water with horses and cows and camels. It's completely dry over there. Those little pellets, within an hour they'll be bone dry. He doesn't waste any water with anything. And the Bedouins gather those during the day. They have a bag behind the camel. They gather the feces and then they use it as charcoal at night. They actually use it fire. It's funny, one winter Nancy actually came to the house and she says, oh, you started a fire in the fireplace, that's wonderful. And then she looks and says, what are you burning? And I tried it. It doesn't smell that good. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll bring Samson. It'll take me a couple of minutes. I'll put her in. Can you do that for me? Wonderful.